make the trek out to Burning Man for a week and a day. After a lot of work, oh, there's a lot of play. Party, 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 drama, 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 bitch, bitch, bitch. Year after year, they come back to scratch that itch. They all say their lives have been changed. After many years, lives have been rearranged. That change is what this show is all about. You'll see the impact of Burning Man up and out. So sit back, relax, and cancel all your plans. These are the stories about the shadow of the man.
Hello, and welcome to the Shadow of the Man Show. I'm your host, Andy. Boy, howdy. It's that Andy. Today, our guest is Will Roger. Welcome, Will.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So this is our season premiere. My season starts in August because I only started the show in 2024. And so you're going to be the first show of season 3, actually.
Wow, what an honor.
Well, thanks for being my guest. So where does it all start for you? So how did you even first find out about Burning Man, and how'd you get involved?
Well, I was living in Oakland.
Okay.
I was a photographer, uh, and I had an open studio at my studio in Oakland. And Crimson Rose walked in, and we immediately hit it off. And she had been to Burning Man, and she told me about it, and I didn't really want to go. That first year was 1993. Yeah, and I didn't want to go. I was a very skilled at camping. I'd camped all over the country. I walked the Sierra Nevada Crest Trail and
Oh.
the Appalachia Trail, and did a lot of hiking and climbing in the White Mountains in the New Hampshire, and
Mm.
uh, so I was used to camping where there were trees and streams, and the desert did not interest me at all. It seemed like a place that I really didn't want to go camping. So I said no. That first year, I said no. So she went and she took my 4x5 camera and a tripod and came back with pictures that I developed in my darkroom. And this is all before digital cameras, um, and that's what I was skilled at. So I got to look at some of her pictures and realize that I had missed something, that this was maybe a gathering of the right people, at the right time. And so the next year, 1994, I went, and I immediately uh, took my shoes off, and the playa was not gentle on my feet, and I got all cut up and got playa foot, and ended up in a camp called the Lake Lahontan Yacht Club, which is one of the first theme camps.
Uh-huh.
These were guys that came out from mostly Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, with their boats, and they camped in their boats. If you think about it, a boat on a trailer is actually a pretty cool camp. So that's what they were doing, and
Wow.
they were very smooth about the way they did things and the way they camped. And they set me in a chair and they put horse balm on my feet. And while I was laying back in the chairs, I looked around and I saw the mountains. And I realized that, oh, this is not just a big flat expanse, which was miraculous in its own right,
Mm-hmm.
but this place had interest. It had mountains, and it had valleys, and places that I really wanted to explore.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that first year, I got a little taste of the harshness of the Black Rock Desert, and I also got a little taste of the wonderment, the magic that can happen there. And I ended up having a great time. We stayed a few extra days. We drove around a little bit, came back to Oakland and continued my life there, kind of dreaming of the next year. Like
Hmm.
I couldn't wait to go out again.
So you just took your shoes off and never put them back on again, or just
Yeah.
walking
Uh,
around barefoot?
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The playa is not kind on some people's feet, and I'm one of those people. And
Yeah. And then try to
so,
put your boots back on, and you're like, how come the
yeah,
shoes are small now? Like,
yeah. So we ended up going the next year, and I volunteered. I worked for John Law, and we did some trips back and forth in his van to get some supplies out. But back then, we didn't really build a city or anything. We just drew a circle in the desert, and the man stood at the center of that, and
so,
call it a day, you know. And it was really cool because back then, uh, the participants pulled the man up.
hmm.
Man was laying, his feet were on hinges, and we pulled him up with a big tugboat rope,
Mm.
which I think is still around, that rope.
Really?
And it was kind of like it was one of the rituals that sort of sat with me as formative in community building, like when you get a bunch of people together and you have them work on something. I think Larry would describe it as hardship. When a group of people experiences hardship together, they create community. And I think we did a lot of little things back then that began to create a community. And one of them was pulling the man up, and back then it was a camping trip. It was just a camping trip, and it was the right people that were part of the cacophony society and
Hmm.
the zaniness of living outside of mainstream stream culture, and we were um, we were stirring the cultural pot. And a parody was a lot of who we were. We
Hmm.
made fun of everything, and you couldn't escape it, you know. So one of the first theme camps I remember was Christmas camp with Santa
Christmas
Claus.
camp.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
everybody dressed up as Santa Claus and getting really drunk and hurling obscenities at everybody who walked by.
Well, I
It
want
was
to
like
know is like,
hilarious, you know.
how did they find eggnog? And this was like what, Memorial Day or something back then?
No, back then it was Labor Day.
Oh, it still was Labor Day.
When the event moved
Oh,
from
Baker
Baker
Beach, it was
Beach
Memorial Day, right?
to,
Yeah.
yes, when it moved to the Black Rock Desert, it moved to Labor Day.
But still, finding eggnog Labor Day.
I think maybe people were making it themselves, you know. It's not
Really?
hard to make. So
Or do they plan ahead, like in like December? They're like, I'm gonna buy up like all these eggnogs and throw them in the freezer and
I have
keep them
no
for
idea.
9 months.
But there was some, planning ahead. People were beginning to develop little camps. There was white trash camp, and it had like broken down appliances
Hmm.
and stuff scattered around. There was there was a military camp. Joe Fenton, he had a army tent and a generator and an air conditioner, and the
Wow.
noise of the generator drove everybody crazy. Um, and we were armed. We had guns. We had drugs. We had, we were dangerous. It was dangerous back then. The
Hmm.
drive-by shooting range was part of it. There was just the edge. There was an edge to it that felt really comfortable for some people and not so comfortable for others. And that edge exists today. It still
Hmm.
exists. There's an edge. Um, and it has to do with freedom, people exhibiting freedom in a way that is tangible and people really being themselves, their authentic selves. And I think the Black Rock Desert brings that out. Um,
Hmm.
and certainly the intention of Burning Man brings that out. So
Yeah.
so there's an art spirit to it that is part of the fringe of culture, which is really important, I think,
Oh
to the
yeah.
legacy of Burning
So I
Man.
take it nobody really took themselves too seriously back
Oh
then.
no, we made fun of everybody. Larry was often the target of a lot of the shenanigans that went on, you know. Uh, there were some other good characters back then. Flash, uh, uh, he he was there.
Was he
Michael
selling burgers or
Michael,
something?
guys like Joe Fenton.
Uh,
Um, these were there. A lot of those people are long gone, and I've forgotten their names.
mm-hmm.
And I'm getting old, so I have an excuse. So so, but it was a remarkable group of people that were, well, we were not mainstream culture. We made fun of that. We
Mm,
saw it for the lie that it is. We basically were authentic. We're very real. Everybody was very real, and we weren't afraid to take uh, paradoxical shots at each other. I mean, it's sort of the way we lived.
well, it's kind of the nature of like who even went out there to begin with, you know, in the cacophony society. I mean, these aren't like, you know, young Republicans or like, you know, the ladies auxiliary. You know?
No,
A bunch of like artists from like Bay Area who like they wanted, you know, like the whole like the Danger Ranger Michael's like the, you know, ritual, like creating the line and stepping over it. It's like, you know, where you're going into this, so you're creating this new environment, right?
well, don't we all create our own reality? I mean, we really do that, and there's a lot of power in that once you figure it out. Most people don't ever figure it out, and they get conditioned by a diseased culture, basically, and become
Mm-hmm.
part of that. You know, the idea is to live a little bit above that, beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody that was out there early, most everybody had that in their DNA. It was part of who they were. So it was very real, and you never knew what was going to happen next, which was exciting. So there
Mm-hmm.
was an excitement to it, and that not only what the humans would do, but what Mother Nature would do. You just never knew what
Mm.
was going to come along. I mean, within a half an hour, a thunderstorm can come up on the Black Rock Desert and dump an inch of rain, and all of a sudden you wish you had a boat. You know, I mean, that can happen out
Hovercraft.
there. It's part of the power of the place. And
Yeah.
also, it's an unusual large blank canvas, so there's no real reference. You sort of need, like, once you put your tent up, you have at least a frame of reference and something that is higher than the desert. But when
Yeah.
you're out there alone, it's awesome because
Yeah.
it's just the largest flat expanse in North America.
What I found amazing was like my first year is 96, and we kind of got a little bit lost trying to get there. Because, you know, we went out to the road and they was like, okay, point your compass in this degree and then go. And then looked at my brother and was like, did you bring a compass? And he was like, no, did you bring a compass? And so we're following this the train of cars, and there's all this you know, and so it's big plume because everyone was driving super fast. So we're like, let's just go outside the line of cars and we can be able to see where they're going. And of course, everyone just sort of split off in every different direction. So before long, and what I'm getting to is like it's just the beauty of like being out in the middle of playa where like you see a 360-degree like the heat mirage, and you could see the mountains, you could see the immediate playa at your feet, but like the whole middle range was all just like heat mirage.
You can actually see the curvature of the earth. I mean, it's a pretty bizarre place. So when you're driving out there, when there's nothing out there, um, you navigate like you do in a small airplane without instruments. You dead reckon. So you look at the mountains, you see the shapes, and as they go by, they change, and that's how you get around.
Yeah.
So it's a unique place for that because you don't get that on land much. You get it
Yeah.
on the ocean, or when you're flying, but you don't get it in your car usually. And it's real easy
Yeah.
to get lost, especially at dawn or dusk, because the lights of there's a gold mine and there's Gerlach and they have lights, and it'll sometimes merge with the stars.
Oh
And so you
wow.
don't really know where the horizon is, and it's very easy to get lost.
Yeah. And the one piece of advice I remember that first year people were saying like when driving around, don't follow other people's tire tracks.
Oh, especially if they stop.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember we were trying to go to the hot springs one time, and then like, and all like, well, they're all the tire tracks are all going the same direction, but then over time they all kind of split off, and I could tell my brother was like, because I was like, we were pointing toward this mountain, and then all of a sudden I see him veering off, like, no, 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 back to the left. It's like,
Yeah, if all
"Eh."
the tire tracks split off, you want to back up. But if they all come together, that's what you want to follow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how you make roads out there. So,
yeah. Well, I'm sure like after the rains in the wintertime, like the roads are all gone then, right?
oh no, there's three main roads, East Track, Middle Track, and West Track, and they've been
Oh,
driven so much that they're worn in. And they're on maps. You can see them on maps.
yeah. And isn't there like historical like trails that like the early settlers used?
Yeah,
And
the immigrants came through. There's the um, Lassen. Hold on.
I was like,
Okay, I'm on a Zoom call, Crimson. You just got on the call.
hey, Crimson, it's Andy.
Hey, Crimson, it's Andy.
Wow. Well,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, our place here is 2 acres, so we use radios. There's three
uh,
buildings, and so we use radios to communicate with each other.
oh, that's good.
It's kind of a
Yeah,
little safety thing to do.
yeah. Now I live about an acre, and we're always kind of yelling back and forth. I'm like, is that my wife yelling?
You should get little handheld radios. It makes it easy.
I don't know. You can just ignore at your peril. Like, didn't you hear what I said?
Well, when you get to be my age, a lot of your conversations are, what? What?
Exactly. So when you first went in '94, there must have been what, like just a few hundred people or
I think
something
it was 1,000, maybe 2,000 people
in '94.
in
Wow.
94. Yeah, 2095 was 4,098. 96 was 8,000. And 97, we thought we would get uh, 16,000, we got 12,000. So it doubled in size every year. So
Yeah.
93 was like 1,000, 92 was 700, and
It was 700
91 was
92.
like
Oh yeah.
500, and 1990 was 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it doubled in size until 97.
So if it's doubling in size, then at a bare minimum, at least half the people must be coming for the first time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they were bringing that energy, probably a little more than half, but they were bringing that awe energy, where everything looks awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're experiencing awe, which is something that our culture lacks. We're trained not to see the awe, in fact.
Mm.
We're dumbed down. And when you go to Burning Man for the first time, your brain doesn't know how to describe it. So your inner voice stops and you're in that place of awe. And Burning Man still does that. It still
Oh
does
yeah.
that to especially the new people, but I still get it when I go out. And this will be my 32nd year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think it's just also just like that. I don't know. I mean, I think like going to a place where it's just like just about anything is possible, because like in our regular lives, we're just so contained, and there's so many times people just tell you it's like, oh, you can't do that, or don't do that, or it's
when
like,
Danger Ranger drew that line in the dirt and had people step across it, that's a metaphor of what really happened. It basically once you go out to the Black Rock Desert and you're among a whole bunch of like-minded people, with the intention of transformation, of change, of the power of art, the power of community, the power of nature all at once,
Hmm.
you go into awe. You go into, oh my God, this is amazing, and that's what keeps bringing people back, because you get that, and you don't get it anywhere else. You don't get it in the concrete, glass, steel things we call cities. You don't get it there.
Yeah.
You're often several stories away from standing on the ground. In
Hmm.
fact, in some cities, you can't really stand on the ground. It's all
Yeah.
concrete and steel, So you get to leave that, and your body needs this connection to the earth, and you get that connection at Burning
Hmm.
Man. You get
Yeah.
connected. You get cosmic energy, the energy of the universe, the energy of the solar system, the energy of the earth.
I think also just the energy of possibility too, because like you said, the first step is like awe, and you see like, wow, look at this. But then I think the second step is like, well, wait a minute, what can I do?
Yeah, I
Right?
watched I watched the art develop over the
Uh-huh.
years. It was just a couple of things at first, and then people would experience those things and go next year, I
Hmm.
can I can do better, you know,
It sparks
or
something in there, right? Yeah.
or hey, this is amazing art. Maybe I could make some art,
Mm.
you know,
Also
and
inspires people, gives them an idea, like, oh, I could do that,
yeah,
right? I would bet something to do something better. Yeah.
and also the same thing happens with community. Like often we live very isolated lives. We're in our little rooms, and we don't really interact in a heartfelt way with our fellow man. It's often convenience and storytelling in a very mundane way, and we don't really have that connection that you get at Burning Man.
Hmm.
I mean, after the first storm, everybody's the same color. You're all tan,
Yeah.
and your tent is blown down, and you can't put it back up by yourself. So people all around you come to help, and then you start helping them, and all of a sudden you see how humanity should be living on the planet, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and so that's the power of the place and the power of the intention that people bring there. And
Yeah.
that's what Burning Man does. It creates that sense of community, that sense of awe, that sense of artistic creation that is missing very much in our everyday lives.
Oh yeah.
Not so much in my life. I mean, I've built a life here in Gerlach where I can experience those things, and it's been very deliberate to do that. I fell in love with the desert. I started this story talking about seeing the mountains
Hmm.
for the first time. Well, I've spent the last 25 years or more exploring and finding out what's out here. And I live here with Crimson. And
Uh-huh.
we have a place on the edge of a small town of 120 people, and I can take my ATV out my back gate and go right onto public land. I can go all the way to Oregon if I want, all the way to Pyramid Lake, and it's all incredible nature. I'm surrounded by it. But
So did you just get
that's
bitten
been
by it?
deliberate.
Yeah. So you just got bitten by it immediately? You mean you said you're living in Oakland, never even thought of it, never wanted to go to the desert, and then
It it it
smitten?
it bit me. Yeah, I got snake bit by the desert, and I love it. And there's no remedy for it. Yeah, I have to be here. So I'm kind of a recluse. I live here. I have a dog and two cats and six chickens, and I grow fish. I have an aquaponic system where I grow medical marijuana, and my fish fertilize the plants,
Hmm.
and it's a self-contained system, and it takes a little bit of care every day. So I have my chores. I get up in the morning and I deal with the chickens, and I run my dog, and I feed the fish, and I
What
do
kind
that
of
every day.
fish? Because I was
Um,
doing aquaponics for
tilapia.
Tilapia. Yeah,
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 so I grow medical marijuana and peppers, and so the fish are in a big tank, and then every hour a
yeah,
pump pumps the affluent through a
yeah.
main bed that has a medium in it where the plants grow. And right now I'm growing peppers, a really good strain of medical marijuana called Royal Highness. I've got in one of the other beds, I've got beets and Swiss chard and
Oh.
potatoes and tomatoes, and I grow some flowers, so I've got marigolds because
Mm-hmm.
they help with the system. And the tilapia, after about a year, I harvest them
Mm-hmm.
and I marinate them in the peppers that their shit
Ooh.
fertilized. And then I put them in a smoker. So we have smoked
Oh.
tilapia,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
which we I got some in the freezer right now.
So the
And
fish poop in the water, and then that water circulates through, and then that like fertilizes the plants, and then the plants kind of clean the
it also
water
it
back for
also
the fish.
filters the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fish always have good water and the plants always have good fertilizer. And there are some, drawbacks. One of them is it's an indoor system
Mm.
and it's
Yeah.
in
How
a
does that work in the
climate
winter?
controlled. I've got
Yeah.
a heat pump on it, so it's in a climate controlled area, and there's no pollinators. So because
Ah.
I don't have pollinators indoors, I can only grow certain things. So tomatoes do really well, peppers do really well. They're self-pollinating. But things like squash and watermelons and stuff like that, I've tried it and I've tried to learn how to pollinate it, but
Yeah. With a little brush. Like, yeah.
I wasn't very good at it. Yeah. So I never really got anything to harvest with plants that need pollinators.
Ah,
And to keep
ah.
the bugs down in there, spiders get in and white flies. I buy ladybugs and I let them loose
Ah, okay.
every couple of months. I'll
And you
buy.
still have to feed the fish too, right?
I feed the fish every day. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
morning thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Wow. I mean, but also, I mean, because it gets cold there, right? I mean, in the winter it snows and everything. I mean, it must
Yeah,
be.
so it's in a greenhouse that's climate controlled. So I keep the
Ah,
greenhouse at 70 degrees. And
okay.
you have
So I
to
take
keep
it
the
you did move out there, like, so you first go in 94, and then all of a sudden 95, we're like, screw you, Oakland. Like,
90, in 95, I volunteered with John Law,
hmm
um, setting up a little bit of infrastructure. We put a scaffolding up. That was part of my job, and a generator with a percolator coffee pot. So that was the first center camp cafe, and terrible coffee, loud noise. It was just weird. We put a parachute over the scaffolding, and that didn't hold up in the wind so good. So,
hmm
we learned in '95. I did the same thing and put up the first spires. We made four. So the first promenade was in '95, and I put up
Oh.
four spires. And then in '96, they made four more. So there was eight spires, and the promenade was longer. And I brought in a couple of friends, Jason Norelli and Tony Perez Benet, who is Coyote.
Coyote. Yeah.
And they came in and they were going to help me, but they were tripping when they got there.
Yeah.
And Tony tells that story
In
in
his
his
book.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they were supposed to help me, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, I got
Good
to
for
do
the
this again.
built to
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah.
Oh.
And anyway, we managed to get the spires up, and '96 was your first year.
Mm-hmm.
So you can probably tell stories about that, but '96 felt dangerous.
Yeah.
'96 had a danger level that you could almost feel like you were bumping into it when you walked
Yeah.
around. It was tangible. And that's because there was a lot of speed and a lot of guns.
And people were just driving all over the place. I mean, there's no
There
restriction.
was
Like,
no camp plan.
yeah.
People were driving at high speed. The one car drove through a tent that had people in it and changed their
Yeah.
lives forever. And That became a lawsuit
I remember
that was floating around. It went from desk to desk on all the cooperators, for the
mhm.
event. And when we applied for a permit for 97, uh, that lawsuit was on the desk of the Winnemucca district manager. And he said, no, you're not getting a permit this year. So
Mhm.
Larry and I took a road trip. We went all over the state of Nevada looking for a suitable place to hold the event. Um, that someplace other than the Winnemucca district office.
Mhm.
But we found a place actually down Goldfield. There's a beautiful little playa down there, and we were going to hold the event there. I'm sorry that we didn't in some ways because it would
Hmm.
have changed it. Certainly, it was a lot closer to LA, so we would have tapped into a larger population, because most people were coming from San Francisco driving, right? And,
Yeah.
and the playa itself down there was alien. It was like amazing,
Hmm.
wonderful. Now, good thing that we didn't, because as the city has grown, that playa wouldn't have been big enough.
Mhm.
So, and we got railroaded out of Goldfield. They didn't want the heathen pagans coming into their Christian town. So we
Mhm.
sort of got voted out, and then we didn't know where we were going to hold it. And a guy named Andy Pector um, had some friends that were the stewards of the Fly Ranch. Fly Ranch
Mhm.
was owned by a notorious cowboy named John Casey, and the largest landowner in the West.
Really?
And his niece had the idea, well, let's let Burning Man do the event on Fly Ranch, and we'll make big bucks, and it was sort of like their idea that they could charge us, for various services, and
Mhm.
so we quickly put together a plan to do the event on the Fly Ranch. And a good friend of mine, the guy who lived upstairs from me in Oakland and also owned the building, was Rod Garrett.
Oh yeah.
And Rod Garrett was a designer. I worked with Rod. I worked for Rod. I was um a contractor. He was the designer. So he would design something for somebody and hand me the design and a materials list, and I would go load it up and build it. So I was building decks and pergolas and different things in the Bay Area. So um, different places around the Bay Area.
Mhm.
Um, and so I asked Rod I said, the county is requiring that we have a plan, that we have a city plan, that we have numbered campsites, and they wanted it like a KOA. And, so I said, Rod, draw me a city plan. And I hung up the phone. Back then, I had an office in Empire. After the 96 event, when the Cacophony Society split from Burning Man, Larry, after the BLM meeting where the Cacophony Society said that there would be no Burning Man ever again, Larry looked at me and winked and said, will you be head of desert operations for next year? And I said, sure, because, desert operations was drawing a circle and putting up
This will
some
be easy.
scaffolding. It was having a beer. I mean, it was like the easiest job that you could possibly have. And I said, sure. So then all this stuff happened, and we got pushed into Washoe County on Washoe County land, and they had a festival permit. Now, these festival permits were affectionately known around the country as anti-Woodstock festival permits.
Do they have like a lot of stipulations? Like
They
jump through all
had
these hoops.
105 stipulations that you had to honor, because no one had ever applied for the permit before, because it was so rigorous that no one could follow it. No one could pull it off. And we were required to apply for it. So the commissioners had us in their pocket, basically.
Wow.
And so part of the permit was that we had a city plan. I called Rod. I said, Rod, design me a city. He calls me back 2 years, 2 weeks later, says, I couldn't sleep. I've never designed a city before. He goes, and really, not very many people have ever designed a city. They mostly happen organically, right? And so, and it's true. Most cities do happen organically. If you think of the title city designer, do you know anybody with that title?
Urban planning, right? I mean, I'm
There's
sure
urban planning, but not city
mhm.
designer. So
Maybe in China, some of those like
maybe in
mega
China, yeah.
cities.
But look at I'm stretching it. So anyway, Rod sent me some plans. We went back and forth. I rejected a whole bunch of them because I couldn't. I didn't have a surveyor. I didn't know how to survey really. I knew how to line of sight things,
Yeah.
and I knew how to use a rangefinder, and I knew how to do some stuff, but I didn't know how to make like large sweeping curves and stuff, like that. So I basically settled on a rectilinear city plan for 97 that Rod designed and I built it
Hmm.
uh, with a very uh, desert ready but unprofessional workforce. So basically, I couldn't pay anybody. Tickets were $30 back then, so we didn't have any cash flow. Um,
And the sheriff took it all, right?
and the sheriff did take it all in 97.
Yeah.
Um, that's another story. That's later.
Yeah.
So we basically had a crew of volunteers, and what I could do is feed them. I put a lot of this stuff on my own credit cards and basically was able to build the city with a crew of people that basically lived under bridges or had PSTD or had some really good veterans
Hmm.
who had nightmares at night, but during the day they worked hard. They were great, and I had a circus came in,
Chicken John and his
underground
yeah,
circus,
yeah.
and we ended up pulling it off. And 97 was a miracle that we actually pulled it off. And then after everybody got there, we had collected like $300,000 and 10,000 people at $30 each. Yeah, that's about right. And so the Sheriff Kirkland, flew in on these stealth helicopters, landed
Oh.
near the box office, came out with a SWAT team, and literally one of the guys picked me up, and I'm a big guy, and he picked me up and threw me out the door. They collected all the money and left.
Did they at least have the niceties to say like this is a robbery?
No, they felt fully empowered. And so they ended up paying inflated payments to their own services. So fire and medical and the county services all got paid.
Mm.
Uh, and all of that was overkill for our event. They had too many people, too much equipment, it was
Hmm.
all inflated. And they gave us back $40,000 like a year later. So that meant for the next year, 98, we had to start planning our ticket sales and creating cash flow in a way that would allow us to be able to build the city
Hmm.
out of the Black Rock Desert. So in 98, Rod Garrett designed what I considered to be the most beautiful city plan of all the Burning Man events. It was the 98, if you look up the 98 plan, it went from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, not 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
So it was more open and it was in degrees. It was not in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was all in degrees and it was very beautiful. And that was down near Gerlach. So that was 2 miles from Gerlach. In fact, if you wanted a beer, you could walk to Bruno's from the event site. And
So how did you guys
I got to build that, and that's the year that I started the Department of Public Works. And
ah
we started getting more. uh, more, good people. We started to get some really good people that were dedicated to Burning Man and dedicated
Hmm.
to building the city. And all of a sudden, I couldn't do everything. Tony couldn't do everything, and so we started to make departments. So we developed a transportation department, a cleanup crew. We had trucking. We had Rhodey Jonas came in, a
Hmm.
contractor from California,
Hmm.
and he brought our first equipment. He came in with a backhoe and a bucket loader, and we trashed it. I mean, we worked that equipment pretty hard, but Rhodey's still a good friend. He's this he has a solar company. He
Uh,
installs solar in off-grid situations. So,
so from like 1990 to 1996, it was more just kind of organic, right? I
it
mean, it
was a
was,
camping trip.
yeah, so it was like a cacophony society. I mean, Larry, I mean, I remember the first like the zone trip out was kind of a cacophony event, like featuring Larry Harvey and his Burning Man or
It was
whatever.
great. Yeah.
Like, yeah, but it was just like saying like it's more organic. Like I think like John Law was involved in a lot of like the logistics in the back end, the trucks
Yeah,
and things like that.
John basically trained me in many ways on
Yeah,
how to
but in 90,
survive in the desert and how to get things done. I mean, but he didn't have much to do, let me put it
yeah,
that way. After the 97 event, we had a lot to do.
but in
Um,
'96 there was like the big kind of split, right? And so then going forward, I mean, that was a juxtaposition in time, right? Because I think like John Law, I think he liked it smaller, or he just kind of liked it more communal and not as
yeah, and
bureaucratic,
I agree. There
say,
was a
right?
charm to that, you know. I
Yeah,
mean, his one of his good friends got killed just before the event started, Michael Fury.
Fury, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that really tainted John's experience um, in many ways. And certainly it affected all of us. I mean, but but it was just a guy on a motorcycle being playful at night on the desert. I mean, there's a bumper sticker that says, "Help keep Burning Man potentially fatal." I mean, that's one of my favorite things because life life is fatal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no matter what, the only thing you have to look forward to really is your death. I mean, life is fatal.
Mm-hmm.
You look forward to the life that you live and live a good life and be alive and all of that, but ultimately you can't take any of it with you. You're going
Yeah.
to die. And so death, for me, death has never been this awful tragedy that you cry about. And I get criticized for that sometimes because I don't. It's just not in my DNA.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is celebrate their life. So the people in Michael Fury's camp did that at Burning Man. There was a
Mm-hmm.
celebration of life. And that made more sense to me than carrying the burden of feeling responsible for it.
Yeah.
In some certain way, we all were responsible because we all came to the desert to party, to play, to be artists, to experience life in its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, there is also death.
Yeah.
It happens, and it's it's not a tragedy. We make
Yeah.
it a tragedy by the way by the guilt that we bring to it or whatever, by the emotion
Yeah.
to it.
But even now, like all these years later, it's like, I think some people might say, like, oh, Brady Man's kind of sanded off some, a lot of the like the rough edges, or it's like, oh, it's a lot safer now. But there still is that danger. And I think some people might kind of put that out of their head, like, oh, I'm taken care of now. But it's like you still can die. You still look at the back of the ticket. I
You
mean, it
can
still
trip
applies.
over you can trip over a tent stake
Fall
and
off a platform,
and
like, yeah,
drop head first onto a piece of rebar. I mean, you know, it's so much, you
yeah.
know. I mean, I'm 78 years old, and every time I walk out into the backyard, I realize it could be my last walk.
Yeah, one bad
So,
step. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
So
then,
so it's a dangerous place because it's temporary and it's sort of put together kind of quickly,
Hmm.
and you just have to be careful if you want to survive it,
Yeah.
and you have to be resilient, and you have to be aware. Your awareness and your consciousness. Also, probably large quantities of alcohol should not be consumed. You know,
In a desert,
I'm a
drying
good one.
yourself out.
I'm a good one
Yeah.
because I had an experience out there because of alcohol, and I became sober, and I've been sober for
Oh wow.
23 years.
Wow. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that that's kind of a cycle or a thing I've been noticing quite a lot of burners because I've been similar trajectory. Like Burning Man was always like, is this experience with like me and my older brother, and like we've been partners in crime and Burning Man all these years. And yeah, when we were in our 20s, we got there, like drank a lot, partied, had a good time. And then like as we got older, like we kind of diverged, my brother kept going and I kind of started weaning off. And then after a while, like, he kind of realized he was an alcoholic and then, had to stop. And so now, like many years later, it's like we're thinking of like reviving our old camp that was this like 24/7 just drinkathon, you know. But we're like, we love the camp, we love the aesthetic, but we're like, well, what do we have other than alcohol? And so we came upon like an alcohol free camp, and so we still have the same like bar and the same design and everything, but just no alcohol. And we make these like really simple, beautiful, like fruity like drinks with like a lot of soda water, and so it's like you can still have a good time, and then you can still go to bed and actually
Yeah, and
wake
still
up in the
remember
morning,
and
yeah,
and
and have
still
a good
remember what
day.
happened. I mean, that's the key for me.
Yeah.
There's a whole part of Burning Man for me that I don't remember well because I was a drunk,
Mm-hmm.
and I was functional. I was a binge drinker, so usually on Saturday night, Friday and Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
I would let loose and black out and become a different person, and then I couldn't be responsible anymore for what that different person was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that I didn't want to be irresponsible. I mean, it just I couldn't have that dark cloud following me around anymore.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had a drop to drink in 22 years,
Wow.
and I do pot. I like psilocybin mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
I do that, and that's fine.
Well, how was it also with like back in the early days of Burning Man and like the gun culture? So I'm just imagining combining the two things. It's like the alcohol, the drugs, and the guns. It's like
Yeah,
doesn't seem like a good
dangerous.
combination.
Oh, it's a dangerous combination. Um, it was also a lot of fun. I mean, it was zany and wild and
But nobody ever shot at each other. No.
no, no, there was never that. I had people shooting at each other in one of my camps.
Really?
Um, uh, that was early on, and at some point, everybody in my camp had guns, and there was no rules against it. We were cowboys in Nevada, and so what? One guy, Cowboy Bob, who tried to die every day, it seemed like he's still around and he's amazing. But he was the hardest working guy. But at night he would drink and then he'd get out his gun and start shooting it into the air, and nobody could sleep. It was like stupid. And so what I did was I took Rhodey's bucket loader and built a little berm, out away from the camp that you could shoot into and not have bullets scattering in the around. And I declared a rule that there would be no um, gunplay except on Sunday mornings, and it would be our church. And so it got named choir practice. And
That's awesome.
so we would all go shooting on Sunday morning. And choir practice is a name that we still use if we want to go shooting. So I've got friends in Reno that say, "Hey, let's do choir practice." and they'll drive up, and there's a couple of shooting ranges here that we go to. So
Wow, wow. Yeah, I know there was this one scene in Coyote's book Built to Burn, um, where I'm not sure it was like 98 or at some point, but you guys were all like in the commissary or early commissary, and so and it was like two people having a dispute, and so one person just like put their gun like out on the table, and then like you left and came back and you put your gun on the table, and then like everyone kind of kept going, and then you're all eating just like in silence, but like just putting like your guns on the table,
true
like.
story. That was maybe the calmest, most polite breakfast we ever had.
I mean, would you bring that back, or would you just go like, because like you said, like, no, no more guns at breakfast,
You
right?
know, I
Like,
have a funny relationship with guns. Um, you know, it's an invention that got made, and there we use guns for a number of different things. Uh, Protection is one,
mm-hmm,
murder is another, you know, and hunting game is another,
mm-hmm,
and target practice is another. Just
mm-hmm,
fun of it, and I fall into that last group of target practice. I don't ever think it's the gun that's the problem. People like to blame the gun. It's an invention. It's something that's part of our toolbox in many ways.
mm-hmm.
It's always the person that's holding the gun that's the problem. And so I've dedicated my life to try to help people raise their consciousness to a level where guns aren't a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an offshoot of it. I mean, um, I've done three books, and my third book is called Habitat Annihilation. So what I'm concerned with is that we live a culture that's basically corporate capitalism that's rooted in the 17, 16, 17, 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And, and we have created a dependence on machines and uh, resources that we mine from the earth, and we poison the ground with fertilizers that are often petroleum based.
Mm-hmm.
We we use medicine that isn't made to heal. It's so those are the real things.
Well, they
So
found like
what
fish that
what
have
I
like antidepressants in them and stuff, like, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, we take these drugs and then we pee them out and they go into the environment and yeah.
it's crazy. And so what we need to do is raise the consciousness of everyone to see the lies of the elite. So we've got we've got the wealth kind of hoarded in a small 1% of the population, and they're making decisions. And then we invented something called a corporation,
Mm-hmm.
which was Lincoln was it was invented in England early, but Lincoln was the first one to use it to protect the owners of public resources. So people that own water and different things that the public had reason to use,
Mm-hmm.
he created the corporation to protect those individuals. So you couldn't sue them or you couldn't blame them. And so all of a sudden the corporation became the business operating model that we have.
Hmm.
And it's not based on anything that's human. It's based on greed. So
Doesn't
the only thing a corporation cares about is profit.
Oh yeah. Well, doesn't that go back
So
even farther? Like, isn't like the British Empire with like the East India Company and
sure.
yeah, like yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it started in England and so all of the humanity or the sense of nature or the sense of cohabitation with nature and with each other in this beautiful miracle place that we call Earth, all of that's been removed. So at Burning Man, you get a little bit of insight into that, into human harmony, community, the art spirit, a connection with the cosmos and the earth as our home, and all of those things come out of Burning Man in a little bit for a week. And what I've dedicated my life to in the last probably 20 years is to try to wake people up to the fact that we are living a miracle on a planet in a universe that's infinite, and that all of our belief systems, if they're not based in fact, are fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So so if you look into your belief systems and you really look and you ask, is it true? Is this really true? And that's from um, the work of a woman from Marin, I forget her name now. But the idea of, first of all, becoming the observer, you become the observer, and the observer observes your thoughts. So when you're thinking and you can step back and think, why am I having that thought? You're becoming the observer, and that's called metacognition. So once you reach a state of metacognition, you begin to have a chance to change, to see the truth, and then change your life to not contribute to the destruction of our habitat or
Mm.
habitat annihilation. That's what we're
Yeah.
doing. So that's basically what I learned a lot from Burning Man,
Mm-hmm.
a lot from my own uh, pursuit of knowledge, and from psychedelics, and from awe. Okay,
Yeah.
those are the key ingredients. Now
Yeah.
the astronauts all get it. So if you look into the astronauts, anybody who's been shot into space, anybody, they come back with something called the overview effect. And the overview effect basically comes from seeing the Earth for what it truly is. So when you're in space, you see a very thin atmosphere. You don't see any boundaries. You see the beautiful large oceans and the little bit of spots where human culture exists. And you don't see any conflict. You see one Earth, one humanity.
Hmm.
And that's what we need to replace federalism with. Federalism is stupid. It's archaic. It goes back to tribalism in a negative way. And it's basically humans fighting humans, but the people doing the fighting are just pawns to the very wealthy, to the rich.
Mm.
We have a political system in America, it's called democracy, and yet our only choices are two parties that are both in the pocket of corporation.
Mm.
So it's an oligarchy based on corporate leadership, based on profit. So
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that we care about, that our government cares about, that our companies care about, that our food, our pharmacy, our building, all of it, our educational system, our entertainment system, our news, everything is based on profit.
Mm-hmm.
We need to pull the profit plug.
Yeah.
So I propose that we basically take all the corporations and make them nonprofits. Now, what
Mm.
did we do with Burning Man?
Yeah.
We turned an LLC into a nonprofit.
I
And
mean,
it
there
can
wasn't
be,
really the profit motive to begin with. Like, oh, I remember like early on, you guys were like, "Oh yeah, we're an LLC, but our goal is not to make money."
no,
And I remember,
we never ran it as a money making thing.
yeah,
We put all the money back in,
because I always thought,
to
like,
build
why
it
not
the
just be a
next year.
nonprofit? Like, why even start with an
And
LLC?
that's why, well, we making a nonprofit takes a bit of effort,
Mm-hmm.
legal work, and
Yeah,
we just never did that. I mean, in '97, Washoe County said, "Do you have a business license?" And I said, "No." So we went and got a business license.
yeah.
Crimson. She drove to Reno, filled out the paperwork to create an LLC. We didn't weren't thinking about
Mm-hmm.
what the future was for
It's
that,
12 o'clock.
or how we would run it. as as a company, except how we were already running it. And
Hmm.
that was make enough money one year so that we could make the next year and make it
Yeah.
bigger and
Yeah.
make it bigger, right? So, I mean, that's basically what we did. And we had the right people. I mean, Larry, Michael, Marion, Harley, Crimson, and myself, we're all different people. We're individuals.
But you each
But
added something. Yeah.
but as a synergistic group, okay, we were better than the individual parts because we worked by consensus for many years. Um,
And also, there was no pattern for this, right? There's no precedent. I mean, you guys were just kind of like inventing it as you're going along,
you bet
right? Like,
you don't go to the library and pull out a book that says how to build Burning Man. You don't, there isn't one. And so we drew from a lot of things, and we also learned a lot of things the hard way.
hmm.
So if something worked, then we would keep it and run it the next year. If it didn't work, we might do it again to see if it didn't work again, and then we would eliminate it and find a new way. I mean,
Hmm.
it was a process, and it was a very good process because after this will be what, the 40th year of Burning Man.
Yeah. Wow.
If you include Baker Beach, that was 86.
40 years. Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
40 years. This is the 40-year anniversary. Most things like Burning Man don't last more than 10 years. There's a
Well, that kind
few,
of, okay.
there's
Well,
Coachella, there's Glastonbury, there's a few things that are music venues that have lasted. There's been a few attempts at utopian things, Arcosante,
oh, history is
stuff like
littered
that,
with
but they didn't
utopian
last.
communes and stuff.
They
Yeah.
didn't last very long, right?
Yeah. Well, this
And
kind of
and
gets me to my last question of like the Burning Man's impact and stuff. So I remember a year or two ago, um, I put something on social media. I rarely engage with social media. It's just kind of a fever dream swamp, but because there's so many people talking about, I don't know if it was after Burning Man, like 24 or something, when there was some like money issues and like Marion was putting out a call for donations. And there was people on social media being like, why are you doing all this like year-round stuff? It's just a party. It's just a party in the desert. Just focus on the party. And I put this thing out. I was like, Burning Man's been going on like 30 some odd years. Now this year, 40 years. It's like, do you really think that, if this was all just a party, like that would be more than 3, 4, 5 years long? Like who in their right minds would just constantly be like, you know what? For the next number of decades, I want to do a party for a rotating cast of like 20 and 30-year olds. Like that's just a big party, and
uh,
I'm not interested in making money.
I mean, we described,
Nobody would do that.
Andy, we described early on why it's not just a party. It's the vibe of
Yeah.
the place, it's a sense of community, you know, it's the art spirit, it's the fact that you are responsible for your own survival.
Hmm.
You're responsible for your own well-being there. You just don't just buy a ticket and become a spectator. So the early one of our early slogans was no spectator.
Hmm. Hmm.
You are the show. You're the show. So it's not like you're a spectator going with a ticket into a stadium or
Like,
into a,
entertain me.
it's not entertainment. It's
Yeah.
lifestyle. And it's much bigger than entertainment, and it dives way deeper into the psyche. Now, some people go and don't get that. Oh, of course. And
Yeah.
they'll be the worst critics. I mean, they're the ones that go and don't experience the awe. They get annoyed by the weather. They get annoyed by the camp next door. They get
Hmm.
annoyed by the loud music, and they never relax and they never let the city cloak that they wear shed,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But the people that do get it come out and they shed that early on, right?
Yeah.
Also, people that only come out for a day or two, I think it takes a week. I
Oh
think you
yeah.
need you need to come for the whole week
You got to
because
acclimate. Yeah.
after about 3 days, you're changed, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you come out for a day, you never really get it. You just don't really get it.
Yeah.
Some people do, but most people who come out for a short period don't.
Hmm. Yeah. It's always kind of said, like, I think just about everybody when they hear about, like they come for the spectacle. That's what they come for initially, right? And they're just like, oh yeah, this is crazy thing. But then the people who wind up coming back, that's always like, especially with my show, like that's what I'm kind of like more interested in. Is like the people who like it's a bucket list, oh, one and done. Like who cares about that? But like the people who like it's like it's something you got bit by a bug. It's like what is that? It's like why come back? I mean, some people like Playa Pete was someone who was like, oh yeah, like this past year was like his 30th year straight. I mean, like, and I mean, like yourself and the founders, the people like 40 years. I mean, it's like why?
Well, I mean, I'll always go back because it's an opportunity to see humans in their glory. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the thing that I'm shooting for is to make Burning Man mainstream culture.
Mm-hmm.
Where gifting is the rule and money's not a factor and creativity is honored and you have a love for your fellow man and it doesn't matter if they're white, black, red, green. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. We're all human. We're all on this incredible miracle of a planet in an infinite universe together. I mean, that's really why I could never not go. I mean, I have to go to Burning Man because I get to experience what I'm trying to develop as the future for humans. I mean, we 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 have to change. If we don't if we don't change our rate of consumption, our rate of extraction, our if we don't change the way profit dominates everything that we do, then we will destroy our habitat and the
Mm-hmm.
earth will be glad to get rid of us.
Oh yeah.
And the
And
earth will do
also,
that.
and this, I mean, just looking around this day and age, it's like people are just at each other's throats. We're so divided. It's like there's red team, there's blue team. That there's. I mean, people find
Yeah,
like
but
infinite ways of dividing themselves off.
that's all a construct. I mean that's done on purpose by the 1%
Divide
uh,
and conquer.
to keep us from seeing the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the people that know the truth, the people that have the overview effect, um, those people need to help educate the people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important. We need to take that responsibility. We're not helpless here. We just have to feel empowered. Okay, and so that's what I'm trying to do is empower people to do that. Right now, I'm working on a course
Mm.
called the Overview Effect with a colleague of mine named Fred Sigmund, who's an educator.
Okay.
And we're putting together a course that you would buy into and you would learn how to see your place on the planet in a different way. And we're hoping that the course does well, that it does change people's lives. I mean, going to Burning Man will change your life. You've heard that many
Mm-hmm.
times. Burning Man changed my life. I'll never forget, I got an email once, a long time ago. The guy said, I went to Burning Man, came home, my wife divorced me, I lost my job, my children won't speak to me, I lost my house. Thank you, Burning Man, for changing my life. And it's that kind of thing that we need to be able to see the truth in. That there is a different way to live on the planet than the way you're living now. I think closer to the if you really look at the trajectory of humans, we've been Homo erectus for 2 million years, and the last few 100,000 years we've been Homo sapiens, and the key there is that we walk upright, which is why I walk a labyrinth every night. I have a labyrinth on the property,
Yeah. Yeah.
and uh, and then uh, we we basically had the industrial age come in, and something changed. So before that, we were hunter gatherers, maybe minimal agriculture. So we were working with the plants and animals just a little bit, domesticating the dog,
Mm-hmm.
the goat, And at that point, we lived in harmony, and there was less than a billion people on the planet. Okay. And then uh, profit got into it. So the last time we were truly in harmony, we were hunter gatherers, really. And if you
Mm-hmm.
look at the indigenous people of North America, the Native Americans, the first people, they know how to live on this continent in harmony with nature.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your example, there's the blueprint, there's the outline. We need to take what few things that we've developed as an industrialized society and merge it with the main things that come from indigenous culture.
Well, I'm sure the indigenous culture, they never had a term for decommodification. It was just kind of like, this is the community, this is the tribe. It's like, I help out with this, you help out with that, right? I mean,
Yeah, like you are at Burning Man.
mm-hmm.
You see, it's very interesting that there's a tribalness, an ancient thing comes forth at Burning Man, your connection to your ancestors. It all comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's subtle, you might not be aware of it, but there is that. And it's important to get in touch with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's what Fred and I hope to do with this course. We want to get people to see
Mm-hmm.
how one Earth, one humanity could be the way that we live on the planet instead of drawing artificial lines and calling it a country
Mm-hmm.
and then being jealous of your neighbor and bombing your neighbor. I mean, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's the wrong people calling the shots on that. And um, the 1% people are the least enlightened people that we have on the planet
Yeah. Hey,
because
do you have
they're so encumbered by the profit motive.
yeah. Do you have a link or anything yet? Or like if any of the listeners want to go
I don't
or
have anything for that. You can go to my website, will@willroger.com or willroger.com, and you can see references to my books and my artwork and stuff like that. But um, Fred and I wrote the outline for it, and Fred has got some issues going on, uh, so we can't really work on it right now. But within a month, we should be able to begin to do some of the video work.
mm-hmm.
A lot of it is going to be me talking on a Zoom call like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
about what we need to do to go into the future. Um, I wrote a book, which is really a collection of essays, and a lot of the people that wrote essays, there's 12 people that wrote essays,
Mm-hmm.
uh, are Burning Man, either former employees or current employees.
Hmm.
A few other people, but mostly Burning Man people. And so, if you look at that book, it's Norfolk Press,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called Habitat Annihilation.
Yeah. All
And it's
right.
a great read because everybody's got a different writing style.
Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes too. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a great book,
yeah.
um, and no one's buying it because I don't know how to market it. And I'm not going to do that. You know,
Well, hopefully,
it's
you know,
it's
that
sort of antithetical to how I believe. I don't want to go out and shill anything like that.
yeah. Well, listeners or viewers or whatever, it's like you should. I'll check out Will's book. Yeah, but so okay. Well, one last thing. Yeah, in terms of like the impact of Burning Man on you. So, like in '93, when you met Crimson and you were, you know, your photography studio, and you're doing like construction around the big area, like. Were these thoughts that you're talking about just right now, were these percolating in your head now, or
No, back then I was trying to make a business work.
uh,
And I basically uh, went out of business because the digital camera got invented. And a lot of, if you remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but there used to be a photo studio practically on every other street corner in every city of the country.
Oh yeah, no, it's funny. Like you know those little like one person like photo booths. It's usually like in a parking lot. You know, it's like you drop off your film. Like there is still one here in a parking lot, like in the North Shore of Oahu
Oh,
where I live.
great.
And I took a picture of it, and I have a couple of coworkers who are like in their mid 20s, and I was like, "Hey, check this out," and they're just like, what's that? And I was like, that's like a photo booth thing. And they're like, what's that? And I explained it to them, and they're like, so someone that was their job. They would just sit there, and people would give them this film, and then they'd come back later, and you'd give them a print. I'm like, yeah. People just like, I don't understand. I'm like, how did this work?
Yeah, I was one of the many photographers that went out of business in 1995, 96, right around in there.
Hmm.
And then I didn't embrace the digital camera very well. I was a chemist. Okay, so my education is I was uh, a chemist. I became a photochemist. Um, I have a BFA and an MFA in fine art, but my original degree was analytical chemistry.
Oh,
And I think I studied that because I wanted to be an alchemist more than anything. And photography provided that because the old wet photography was magic. I mean, you had an
yeah.
enlarger and you projected light on a piece of paper and put it in a solution, and like magic, an image would come up. And I became an expert at that. So I was well known, and I printed books for people. My second wife is Marilyn Bridges, a very famous aerial photographer. And so we had an airplane, and she photographs ancient earth sites.
Oh,
So I got to fly over Machu Picchu and the Serpent Mound in Indiana and
wow.
all that. We owned an airplane for a while,
Are
and
you a pilot?
I was. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't fly anymore. I'm too old.
why? Never too
It's
old to fly.
well, growing old is a wonderful experience. I'm honored that I've got this in me still. But every day you learn something else that you can't do anymore. It's like really weird. I sold my
Yeah,
motorcycle. You
yeah.
know, I can't really go backpacking anymore. There's a lot of things that I miss. Uh,
Mm,
but I'm glad that I have the memories of doing those things well and experience what I've experienced. So
yeah.
Burning Man is one of them. What a ride. I mean, um, every year we were always focused on the next year. It wasn't about what are we going to do in 20 years. And the interesting thing is that we provided a blank canvas, and the Burning Man community made the painting. Every year, it's the community that just outstanding people, creative, resilient, um, loving people that make up the Burning Man community, which continues to grow. Um, we have gotten older as a demographic, but we're bringing in young people. We're bringing in more young people.
Oh yeah,
Uh, I think that humanity needs Burning Man. I think we're the experience that everybody needs
exactly.
to get them in touch, to begin to see the overview effect, to
Mm-hmm.
begin to care about their fellow humans, regardless of their race, creed, color, origin,
Mm-hmm.
sexual orientation, all that stuff.
Yeah.
None of that matters. We have more in common with each other than we have differences, way more in common. Eyes, ears, nose, lungs, arms, legs. I mean, those are the things we have in common.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the ruling class wants us to be divisive over the subtleties, the little things that don't matter.
Yeah.
And so we need to rip that out. We need to just say, no, I'm not gonna be a bigot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a human on this miracle planet, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've often heard is that the easiest way to motivate people is to create like an us versus them kind of situation.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can make $1 million
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
But
mean,
something.
the profit motive is huge and insidious and
Oh yeah.
powerful, and we've created um, a culture where we honor and revere the rich.
Mm-hmm.
Not the poor poet living in a cardboard box on Bowery Street. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't revere them. We look down on them, and yet they're the same humans. They're
Mm-hmm.
humans.
And I think like another thing, like what Burning Man excels at, and I think what's more fundamental and powerful than like said capital or money is our human connection, right? And I mean, I think for me personally, it's like that's kind of like what gets, like you go for the spectacle, but you come back because of our humanity, our common
Yeah,
connection.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I have friends that I only see at Burning Man. I met at Burning Man, and I only see them there, and they're the best friends I've ever had.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love them. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
and I stay in touch with them through social media and stuff, but there's no direct interaction except at Burning Man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, well, okay, one last thing, but I don't know. It's like is Burning Man affecting the world, or is the world affecting Burning Man? Like I said, like you draw that line, you creating this space, that's outside of of normal culture, where people can find their common humanity and connect with each other. But then, over time, like I guess, like the dot-com like bros have come, or the Instagram like influencers and this and that. And I mean, I took 13 years off of Burning Man and came back, and people are asking me, it's just like, well, what's changed? I'm just like, it's not so much what's changed, it's more of like what's stayed the same. It's like it still
I think
has, it's like like we were talking about, like these human connections, and like it, like the awe and the human connections, like it's still there. I mean, people might complain like, oh, this Instagram model's taking this picture or whatever, but like the basics of it is still there.
I agree. I think that's a bigger question. I was part of the Summer of Love, the late 1960s,
Hmm.
when the people were empowered. I was part of SDS and the Weathermen and
Oh really?
some of the revolution stuff that was going on. I was living in New York City at the time,
Oh.
and what I saw over the next 10 years was an assimilation, a commodification of a lot of the symbols and signs and ideals of that generation of people. And so culture has an insidious way of absorbing things and making them less relevant, making them less revolutionary. So I think, is Burning Man changing culture? Is culture changing Burning Man? That was your question.
Yeah.
I think that I like to think that Burning Man is having a positive effect on culture more than culture is having a negative effect on Burning Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've done a good job as leadership, the board of directors of
Mm-hmm.
the six founders. Um, I think we've done a good job of insulating the Burning Man community from the political restraints that have been asked of us over the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've done a good job of retaining the art spirit, but that's a community thing. The community has done that.
Mm-hmm.
And the art spirit, which is a powerful force in human experience, one that we don't get a lot of from our current culture. We don't get a lot of reason to be kind of uh, uniquely creative in a very base way, digging in the dirt kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't really get that. We might be creative in developing a code for an app, but that's a different kind of creativity.
Yeah.
It's not it's not like a raw experiential creativity. that you get from making something with your hands. And
Yeah.
so Burning Man gives you that. And so I think as long as we can retain that, and how do you retain it? Well, you hold the event in the Black Rock Desert.
Mm-hmm.
The power of nature is
Oh yeah.
really what creates a lot of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you can't legislate out. I mean, the BLM could say, yeah, you can't hold the event here, and that would kill it. So we have the Fly Ranch. The Fly Ranch, we bought a 5 square mile piece of property in the next valley
Mm-hmm.
where we're beginning to hold larger events there. This summer will be the first time we've actually got a permit to hold an event for 500 people.
Oh.
And I think that it's exciting because it means that we can do different kinds of things there because we own the property. The Burning Man community owns the property,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the Burning Man community is, in fact, the 501c3 that is Burning Man, right? The
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if we can begin to do things there that are sustainable, regenerative, we already have a beekeeper. We keep bees. We have gardens. We have a well with good drinking water, and we have the miraculous fly geyser there, right? If we could begin to use that as a training site to get people to see the big picture, the overview effect, the fact that and live outside of mainstream culture, the property is not connected. It doesn't have power coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have utilities. It doesn't have any of that.
Huh.
So it's an opportunity to blend that indigenous knowledge with some of the useful things of contemporary culture and create a living experience that could help change the future trajectory of mankind, which needs to be changed.
Wow.
So
That
it
sounds
could be a
wonderful.
lab, in fact, to
Yeah.
teach people how to live on the earth harmoniously.
Huh.
And that's what we're doing. I mean, it's happening. It's great.
Wow. I'd love to make it out there for one of those things, one of these days. Yeah.
Well, go to the Fly Ranch website, and you can see the things that are happening. Um, you can certainly sign up for one of them. We do nature walks through Friends of the Black Rock every week. And Crimson and I built a labyrinth out there,
Mm-hmm.
and we open a labyrinth walk every Sunday at 2 o'clock,
Oh,
2 to 3. You can
wow.
walk the lab.
All right. Well, we got almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful interview.
Well, I'm glad. It was really nice to. You look real familiar, so I know that our paths have crossed in the past.
Well, then
It's
we'll cross again in the future.
Yeah. Let's do it again. I hope that you enjoyed the what I said, and hope I didn't say anything that's too harmful. So
No, not at all.
I think
All
we're
right.
good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please subscribe, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. The more reviews the show has, the more likely it will even appear in search results. Also, please tell a friend and share this show with anyone that you think might like it. Word of mouth reaches quite far, especially in the Burning Man community. If you would like to contact us, please send an email to shadowofthemanpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow Shadow of the Man on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, and YouTube. The links for all of these are available at shadowoftheman.com. Feel free to use any of these social media accounts to provide any feedback you might have. Your thoughts on the show are greatly appreciated. Thank you, and see you soon for a new episode of The Shadow of the Man.
Thank you for listening to this latest show. We have to make another one, so gotta go. Don't worry, for next month we already have one in the can. Very soon you'll be listening to a new Shadow of the Man.